So New Yorkers, this is what we've been waiting for. Tremendous progress after 2 long years. And we're not done, but this is trending in a very, very good direction, and that is why we are now approaching a new phase in this pandemic. And how do we know we're in a new phase? I've been talking to everybody. People in the local dieters, getting their reflection, talking to businesses, everybody from, as I mentioned, Dr. Fauci and healthcare experts. We rely on Dr. Bassett regularly. She consults with other national leaders in our neighboring states. Talk to elected officials, talk to labor leaders. I called every major healthcare leader in the hospital CEOs, business leaders, talked to many businesses over the last few days, as well as educators, school superintendents, parents, the leaders of the teachers unions. Everybody I could think of has received a phone call from me to ask them how they feel about where we are, where we're going, and what we should be doing next. So consulting with all of them has given me not just the data, but the on-the-ground view from the people that are most affected. And that's how I make the best decisions. So we had a mask or vax requirement for businesses. It was an emergency temporary measure put in place literally 2 months ago. And at this time, we say that it is the right decision to lift this mandate for indoor businesses and let counties, cities, and businesses to make their own decisions on what they want to do with respect to masks or the vaccination requirement. Given the declining cases, given declining hospitalizations, that is why we feel comfortable to lift this in effect tomorrow. And I want to thank all the businesses and the county leaders and the health departments and places as far away as Erie County who did the right thing to help us get through this. I believe this has made a huge difference, and it gives also patrons of businesses the comfort to know that they are safe when they went into these stores during our most vulnerable time when we saw those numbers literally off the charts. And now those numbers are coming down, and it is time to adapt. However, we want to make sure that every business knows this is your prerogative. And individuals who want to continue wearing masks, continue wearing masks. And I suspect when I walk the streets of New York City, as I often do, I'm still going to see a lot of people wearing masks because they will feel safer. That is something that they are very, very welcome and encouraged to do. But in terms of having a requirement, it is being lifted as of tomorrow. And so thank you to the business owners. It wasn't easy. I walked in a lot of restaurants showing here in New York City my vaccination card, and I just want to thank all of them for everything they did. They are part of the New York story in our response to this pandemic. They are an example of what leadership, even in their own lives and in their own communities, looks like, and they stepped up. And some of them, it wasn't pleasant, but I want to thank them because of them we were able to lift this at this time. Again, I will always retain the flexibility to make adjustments if necessary. You know how I operate. I'm looking at data, looking at trends, looking at everything that's out there, but I also want to deal in the reality that we have a very good picture that has been painted over the last few weeks, and particularly as we are approaching the expiration date of this temporary measure that's been in place now literally for 2 months. So let's talk about some places where it's still in effect. We are still going to continue for now the requirement at state-regulated healthcare facilities. I think that's very obvious of why we want to make sure our healthcare facilities are safe. That would be adult care facilities, nursing homes, correctional facilities, schools and child care centers, and I'll be talking about that in a minute, homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, as well as bus and train stations. The federal government regulates the airports, the airplanes, and trains like Amtrak, so that is still under their jurisdiction. But also just know that those are more concentrated areas, as well as the areas where we believe people are most vulnerable. I want people to know this pandemic is not over. It is not over. And that is why we're still going to maintain protections for vulnerable populations in areas where people are very concentrated, because I want people to feel safe. I want people to still feel safe when they come into the cities and go to their jobs, that they're not going to contract this virus. And you're going to hear a little bit about this from Dr. Bassett in a couple minutes, but a day doesn't go by where someone doesn't tell me they're also experiencing long COVID, long-haul COVID. And this is devastating for people who want to get back to work but just have so many symptoms they cannot. So I want to just strike the right balance here. and let people know that the time in our judgment based on all these metrics is correct to lift it for the requirement for businesses, but also there are vulnerabilities that we need to continue to protect until further progress is made. So that's important to know. Now, ask me the most common question I get asked in the state of New York. I think you know. When are school masks coming off? Let's talk a little bit about history here. Literally on August 17th, 1 week before I was sworn in as your governor, I knew I needed to hear from the education field. I spoke to PTAs, school superintendents, principals, all the leaders of the representatives of the teachers, parents, everybody. I said at the time, and this was August, there was still talk that there were schools in our state and school districts that were going to continue remote. I said, no, we have to get our children back in schools. We went to that experiment. It served a limited purpose to keep some educational engagement going during the worst months of this pandemic. But now we had started having vaccines available starting that summer for older kids. The numbers were looking better. And I said that these kids, based on all the experts I've been talking to, need to be back in a safe learning environment because the mental health effects and the isolation and the depression and all the other collateral damage that our students went through, we need to start healing and help the teachers who went through hell and back to do the very best they could while their own kids are being learning at home on the kitchen table, and they're trying to teach a classroom. And the parents, everybody went through a lot. And I said, what is the best way we can get our kids back in school and keep them open, even though other parts of the country, they were throwing in the towel and saying, well, we'll just leave them all remote. We couldn't do that here in the state of New York. We value our kids, we value education, and I said we have to make sure our schools are open. So after consulting with all these people, part of that whole education ecosystem, we decided that the safest way for the students, the teachers, the administrators, everyone who's part of that system, the safest way for them to return to school was to have a mask requirement. That's what we talked about before I was governor. We instituted my first day in office and said that the era of remote learning is over, except in extraordinary circumstances. And that was the whole genesis behind the mask mandate. So keeping kids safe, keeping them in school. That's still a priority. You know, it was just over the December holidays. Right afterward, you saw in places like Chicago, everybody saying it has to be remote, we have to stay remote. No, we were smart. We got test kits out to everybody. We gave an opportunity for people to find out who may be positive before they came back from break. We've been using really smart practices here to say, no, in New York State, our schools are open. So that's going to continue to be a priority. So what we want to do, we know there's another break coming up. Most of the public school students in the state will be back the week after February 28th, after they've had their winter break. Some of them may be traveling to other states, maybe going to Disney World. I'm not sure where they're going, but they won't be in class for at least a week, 10-day period. So let's talk about when the kids come back, or even before that. Let's make sure that there's test kits, and we're giving them out right now. And I'm going to talk about the extraordinary number of test kits we've amassed in a very short time, more than any state in the nation. And what are we doing with them? Getting them out to schools, getting them to parents, getting them in the hands of people that can find out whether a child is positive before they come back, and that's how we stop the spread. So after this break, parents will have test kits for their children. We want them to test the day after they come back, and again 3 days later, and let the school know if your child tests positive, keep them home, but by that Friday, just a few days after the children come back, we'll be able to look at those numbers, but not just those numbers. We're going to be looking at everything we've looked at throughout this entire process that actually led us to today. We're going to look at the cases per 100,000. We're going to look at the percent positivity. We'll also keep an eye on hospital admissions and even pediatric admissions. What's happening with them? Are they continuing to decline, which is a very good metric right now. Look at our vaccinations. It's just one of many factors to look at, as well as we are going to be watching the global trends. We were forewarned about Omicron the last time. throughout the fall, if you remember, even New York City's numbers were about 1% the entire fall. And all of a sudden, Thanksgiving came a week later, and it all broke loose. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I pray it does not happen. But I do know that it would be negligent on our part not to be watching closely what is happening elsewhere as we calculate the best way to keep our children in school and safe. Therefore, after the break, after we had kids tested, we are going to make an assessment that first week in March based on all the metrics I've just described to you and look at that combined picture. There will not be one number that says yes or no. Is going to be an assessment of all these factors that have guided us throughout, guided us to the decision we made today, and that'll give me the comfort as well as the conversations I had yesterday, just on a Zoom call, talking again to school superintendents, principals, PTA leaders, called all the teachers, administrators, everybody who's part of that system. We solicited their input, their advice, and I believe that they felt comfortable with this approach, that it's not reactive, it is thoughtful, it is based on everything we've been doing since day one, and we've done it successfully.